I'm Desiree. I'm the podcaster for A Dram of Outlander, and I write blog posts. And I started with Outlander in 1991 when the first book came out, and I wandered into a bookstore. And I always tell people that to my marriage, I brought Outlander, refrigerator, and 2 cats with me, and it's still here. So that's kind of how it goes. My poor husband has had to go along this whole 24 years. So, and this is Courtney.
Hi, I'm Courtney Williams. I have a blog, Outlander Behind the Scenes, and my mom introduced me to the books in 2006. I had a newborn and stayed up way too late reading and fell in love. And when the show came out, I was like, I'm not even gonna watch that. They're gonna ruin it, and I don't want to do it. But one day I was home alone, and it was on for free, and I watched, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Anyway, long story short, I have been to Scotland like some ridiculous amount of times now, and started a blog and also do some interviews with the cast, and I love it. Glad you're here. Thank you for coming.
And I am Karen Doherty, and I write the blog Outlander Medicine. I'm an emergency medicine physician, and I found myself in the land of 4 knee surgeries in the last 2 years, and I don't like not being busy, and I started blogging about the medicine of Outlander while I was lying on the sofa recovering from knee surgeries, and my family was out skiing. I guess I'm a newcomer because I came about the books around 2008, and I'm still waiting for Starz to call me and tell me that they need a new medical advisor because I'll be on the side. So, welcome, thank you.
So the only ground rule we have is if you have a complaint about the show versus the books, you have to come up with whatever your plan would have been to make it better in the context of what the writers did for the TV show. So I just want you to come up with some good ideas. So how we're going to do this is we're going to kind of talk about something and then open it to you guys. We really want this to be about you and what you think, because it's a fan panel. It's not just about us. We just happen to put it together. The first thing we're going to talk about is the top 3 of something for season 3. I said the print shop scene was particularly my favorite for reasons, obvious reasons, right? Jamie passing out was beautiful. Jamie's goodbye to John, Isabel, and Willie, because if you didn't cry, I don't think you're quite human. And the first wife episode, because Leary getting her own is just great. It's fantastic. And her shooting Jamie is pretty good. I mean, really, because you wouldn't expect it from her, and then she comes out and shoots him, and it's pretty awesome.
All right. My favorite scenes, I actually did my favorite episodes. 301, the battle joins. I thought Sam was amazing in that, in the beginning scenes where he's on the battlefield and dying. And then the execution scenes in that one. I really loved 303 when, for Katrina and Tobias, I thought were amazing in that, and that argument scene. And then his death. And I have more than 3, but I'll go with the fight and the first wife between Jamie and Claire. It's pretty good.
My choices have somewhat already been chosen as well. The reunion, of course. I will say of lost things, I like seeing Jamie having purpose again. Love seeing William start to get developed as a character. I also said the last episode, and maybe that's more because I'm really excited for what's to come and I want to be at the bridge. But I think that one made me pretty excited, Lynn in Georgia. So, yeah.
Do you guys want to share yours? I'd love to hear other people. And we can try just speaking out and see if we can hear you. Somebody's got to have it.
Oh, I love the scene with Lord John and Jamie when they see each other and speak for the first time in Curry.
Oh, after,
Yeah, after the whole thing. So they
When they're at his manor house for the party.
His manor house for the party.
David Barry was amazing in that, wasn't he?
Yes.
He is such a good actor. Any others?
I like the Stevie scene where she had a fever and then they were,
that is a good one.
Turtles.
Turtles. soup.
How did we forget turtle soup?
No, it's on there, it's just that we were only doing 3.
Did any of you make turtle soup from the Outlander Kitchen Cookbook for that episode? You tried? Did it turn out? It was a pretty intensive 2-day recipe.
Oh my God, with the turtle?
Well, it's mock turtle soup. It's not a real turtle.
Wow.
But it takes 2 full days to make it. That's why I didn't make it.
Anybody else?
I really liked when Claire, she jumped off the ship to see to go board Jamie when she was on her own for that bit, because it was like, they just got back together, and then all of a sudden, that kind of suspense of like, wow, they're already separated, and how they reacted to being on their own, but still, like, at the same time.
And making that choice to jump into the ocean in a totally unknown place with no assurance of survival, that's incredible.
Yeah, because Annika told her to, and that it was safe.
Right.
And as an actor, no dialogue. You know, she had to carry all those scenes with no dialogue. Did you guys think the snake or the ants were worse?
And
Yeah, me too. Ants, raise your hand for ants. And snake. The husbands are like, what are we talking about?
have all of you read the book? Raise your hands who's read the books.
Not all of them.
Have you read up through season 3 yet? Oh,
Yes.
the 3rd book? Okay. You haven't read the next one
I
yet?
haven't read the next one.
Okay. Are you waiting until the season's over?
But-
Until the season 4 is over to read the next one?
I'm just finishing up Game of Thrones, I can
Oh.
get right.
I just started Game of Thrones. So what particular scenes are you looking for in season 4? I had way too many, so I had to whittle it down. Probably William and Lord John going to the ridge. So these are spoilers for people who haven't read it yet. But you don't know the context, so it's okay. There's so much in that couple of weeks that passes. It's amazing. John Quincy Myers, for sure. There's a particular dinner party scene that I can't wait to watch. We're going to be.
Are we allowed to talk about it? Non-book readers?
It's a surgery scene with a pretty rough and tumble character during a giant, fancy, the who's who of everyone in Cross Creek dinner party that happens. And of course, Claire just rises up.
Anyway, I'm so excited.
Just splashes the whiskey right on there.
Yes. And of course, just the really special Brianna and Jamie meeting for the first time. It's going to be, at least we know they filmed that because we got Meryl Davis sending a little tweet out about it, and everybody cheered in Twitterland. What are you looking for, Courtney?
You know, I'm just rereading Drums of Autumn now, and I'm actually doing it with Davina Porter, which is, she's awesome. I love it, but sometimes I'll fall asleep and then I'll have to rewind like 3 hours. But anyway, so I don't remember all of it, but I'm really excited. John Gary Steele, who's the production designer, has said that his favorite set from season 4 is River Run. And so, or Aunt Jocastas.
Yes.
So I'm really excited to see them arrive there and, you know, just get the introduction of that. And
Well, and they tackle some very serious social issues that we're still dealing with today. And so it's actually going to be very timely and difficult for us to watch, but I think it's going to be actually really helpful with kind of the social movements that are going on right now. I think it's going to be really important. So the timing couldn't actually be better for this season and what's going to happen.
I think it's that the writers feel that too, you know, like how exactly do we try to be historically accurate or do we?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure they're going to show it all.
But also there is a scene where Jamie and Claire are out on the ridge and there are a bunch of fireflies. I don't know if they're going to do that. It'd be really cool.
We have fireflies in Scotland.
I don't know if they have them. And then the bear killer scene.
Again, you failed at mine, but I will add to the bear killer scene, the fish slapping scene across the base.
Yes.
But
I really hope we see
I
that.
hope so.
did see a bear.
You did see a bear? Oh, yeah.
Fun.
I think they showed some on Instagram, somebody showed them carting off a bear carcass.
Like, I don't see how they couldn't do that soon, you know? But, so what about you guys? What are you looking forward to?
Native Americans.
Yes.
Terry's designs are so spot on. I know backgrounds of that. They're fabulous. Can't wait.
Background in what? History. So you know that the costumes are very historically accurate, is that what you
They
meant?
sure look like it.
Yeah.
I know, tried to make it really big.
No doubt.
To look at detail.
So non-book.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
I want to see how they work for how that can.
Yes.
So what's your favorite way that they might add him back in?
Yeah,
What do
let's
you suggest?
fantasize.
Ooh.
No.
Murtaugh.
Yeah, I think that's what he's like.
Yeah, does he become a Duncan in this role and end up with Jocasta?
You know, I heard that Diana said that's not what's happening.
Yes.
Yeah, there's, am I right there?
She
Yeah.
did say that.
She said he's not coming back.
How they do it.
What do we think?
But maybe what she's saying is he doesn't, I don't know. I want him to marry her.
I'd say I don't want him to marry her at all. I think it's weird, but that's, I think it would be weird.
Why?
Are they related or not related?
No,
No,
well,
it's because he was,
she's a
in love with-
Mackenzie, he's a Fraser.
was in love with Jamie's mother his whole life.
Well, yeah, and she
So-
looks like her.
I know, so it's kind, I know, to me it's just odd that he would marry her sister that looks like her.
I think that makes perfect sense, all the more reason.
I like it.
Yeah.
You want him to get married? What's that?
Yeah. What's that?
We're not buds. Family.
No, that's
Right,
true.
right.
Oh, yeah, that's true. There might be some bad blood between Murtaugh and Jocasta that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Because they're schemers.
So do you guys think he'll go with them to the ridge?
I hope so.
That's my favorite. What else do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's in the fourth book, sometimes they run together for
Yeah.
me, but the scene where Ian, to a certain extent, sacrifices himself to stay with the Native Americans, and he has to say goodbye to Jamie.
Right,
I
because
think that's going to be
That's
a lot of
beautiful.
Is that in this book or is that in this book?
So, wait, if you didn't hear her, it's when.
Cover your ears.
Yeah, anybody who hasn't read this book, it's when a character has to sacrificially go live with the American Indians. And I learned recently, that's kind of the preferred term over Native Americans, unless they go by their tribal name, and it's individual.
What was the term?
American Indians is
Okay.
more the preferred term than Native Americans.
Okay. So the Roger thing is the reason for that, right? So because
You are going to be like shocked. You're
this
gonna
book is really good.
You're going to love it.
So much happens and I'm really looking forward to that.
So beautiful watching it play out. The confusion that was so easily avoided.
Oh, yeah.
I know, it's kind of like a general hospital, you know, where you're like,
Yeah.
just walk around the corner. You
See,
know?
that's the joy of the podcast, is I can yell about it during the podcast and edit and send it on, and people can listen to me ranting about that.
Can we talk about that scene? About Roger?
I think it'll be,
Don't spoil me.
no, I'm not.
Okay, no spoilers, okay.
No spoilers, that was way too much.
Roger who?
Yeah, Roger, we don't know.
I'd be interested in hearing what you folks think about the way that they changed Mr. Willoughby for the book, to the show. How do you think that they may portray the whole slave era? Because they could go so many different directions.
I think they're going to show it pretty realistically. I think especially because there's so much going on right now in our country that's really highlighting really the significance of racism that still occurs. I'm back in school right now, as well as all the other things. I'm working midwife by trade at the moment.
With 4 kids.
Yeah, but they're big, they're not littles anymore. It's okay, I got time. And a lot of the coursework I'm doing for the degree is looking at some of those particular things and looking at statistics. So about 80% of African Americans in this country come from West Africa through the slave trade. So we still have generational impact. So I think that because there's so much highlight socially on that in our country right now, and it keeps coming up almost daily, I think they're going to stick really close to reality.
But they changed Willoughby so 180
I know.
degrees.
Because they thought that was culturally insensitive. But I think if they don't show this, that it will be whitewashing and it would be very bad backlash. I mean, the things I see in textbooks right now as somebody in middle age, when I was in school, half of this stuff you had to go to the library to find in individual books. It didn't show up in our textbooks. So we see all the reality of it now, which is really great, but that wasn't the norm when we were in school, any of us really. So anybody over probably, 30 really didn't get that information. So I think they're going to look at it and really make it useful. Yeah.
In my opinion is they'll definitely have Claire probably be more outraged than she is in the books for that same reason. I think that her character in the show really takes on that mantle of
Justice.
yeah, and she did in the books, but it wasn't.
Well, she's trying to integrate what's hers to deal with and what's not hers to deal with, and she doesn't quite know how to do it. Like, I would know what to do. I mean, you stand in the face of something that's totally common in a culture. I would be like, this is wrong, but what can I do without someone coming after me because I'm standing up against it? I mean, it is really challenging, and I think that she's going to have to evolve into that and try to have a voice.
And I can see them exploring that,
Yeah.
even with the whole episode of Claire caring for them and taking a social stand.
Because in the book, she really does. I mean, she does, and she makes her piece known, and there's threads throughout the books that we see that when they come from the future, that they're like, we can't, this is not something that we like, and we can't do this over the long haul.
And in some instances, like in the book in Voyager, season 3, Claire tells them, don't give me any gas or anesthesia for having Brianna, and they don't. And she has her, and that's her stance. But in the show, they made it very like, a big white guy that doesn't listen, and little lady and all that. So it was a little bit more emphasized, stereotyped. So I could see that possibly happening. Possibly. What did you guys think of the Willoughby change?
Here's more likable.
I don't think he was supposed to be likable. I think he was supposed to be obviously out of place. And that he was only there because he had to be there. And he was angry because of his circumstance, even though if he would have stayed, it would have meant death for him.
All of those things can be accomplished without making a caricature of him, though.
Yeah.
Or kind of move towards that.
I think they made him a little bit
Story.
too gentrified, if that's the right word. I think they did make it a little bit too much like he just lived there and he was now,
I was totally
British.
annoyed at the time when I first saw it, but having seen it numerous times at this point, like a lot of people.
Really?
I came to appreciate what they did, but at first I found it very off-putting because it really wasn't, I think, Diana's intent.
That was actually one of the few things I didn't like in the book.
Yeah, because it was really very caricature, like Karen's right.
I actually thought that was an improvement.
Agreed.
And there's very little that I can criticize her with, but that's the one piece that I didn't care for when I read it.
I talked to Diana about, to me, Willoughby was a lot to do with being on the, and all that, and she said they tried really hard.
Yeah.
And they had one in Australia or something, but getting this creature to South Africa and include, she said it just became impossible, so they had to move on from that.
Well, I think one of the challenges, though, that happened with such a significant departure was that when he did his story at the end, it didn't have the same impact. Because we couldn't figure out why he was so angry in the context of the character that was created on the show. So I think that was kind of lost a little bit. I mean, I looked at it and said, but are people who don't read the books, will they understand why he is outraged? Because we can infer it as readers, but if they haven't gotten there in the book yet and they don't know him that way, I think that was kind of a lost piece
Right, they didn't see no disrespect, but he got it.
What did you show only people think about that?
I think everyone's pretty much read it.
Oh, okay. Well, I actually interviewed Gary Young, Mr. Willoughby, and it was fascinating. Wonderful guy, and so heartfelt his study that he did to put into that character. It was just really something.
Did he have any insight on book versus show, Willoughby?
You know, he said he didn't look into it too much because he knew they were changing the character, and so he didn't want to, you know, he didn't even really want to go there, but I felt like he really got a lot of Willoughby he didn't read the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, he did well then.
Yeah.
Anything else?
How do you envision them creating Stephen Bonnet?
Oh, I think they're going to do Stephen Bonnet just as well as they did Black Jack Randall. I think he's somebody that you will learn to just, he's going to try the pants off of you, but you're still going to hate him for it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I struggle with that comparison though, because I don't find a whole lot to like about it.
No, I just think they're going to develop him really
Yeah.
well, and you're really not going to like him. He's going to be a true villain, I think.
Yes.
But he's going to be a more likable villain. He's not going to be a, sadistic.
Well, he is
sociopath.
attractive, right?
Yes.
He's attractive, and, you know, at first, he's kind of charming, but it's pretty quickly that he shows his true colors.
Yeah, there's not a lot of honor among those thieves. Anything else for season 4 that you guys want?
About Jimmy tackling fatherhood for the first time.
I know with an adult daughter.
An adult daughter was from the 1960s.
He's from bikinis.
Oh, the bikinis, yes.
1700 version of parenting to this grown woman is very forward thinking. I think that would be interesting. Then butting heads, they're caught in the middle.
I do hope we see that fire between them and really see that sort of Fraser Steele.
I'm excited to see Jocasta and Jamie. I think Maria Doyle Kennedy is going to be amazing. That's Jocasta.
Match wit.
Yeah.
Those Mackenzies, man, you gotta watch out for
When
them.
she's only like 53 and she's playing, if Jocasta's still supposed to be, I think, 65.
Yeah.
Is she?
They could age her up.
It's amazing to me that we have tremendous actors.
The talent is the talent. Come on in, guys. Grab the book. Each get one.
I already have it though.
Give it to somebody who hasn't read it.
Looking forward to the Martin and Rihanna.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's been good.
Yeah.
I know.
Voldemort?
Yes, it's gonna be Harry Potter.
What do you think they're gonna leave out? I was really disappointed with the stuff that was not in the show.
Oh, yeah, that was one of my questions. What do you guys wish was in there that was left out or got deleted in season 3?
I mean, there's so much of Willie's conflict and the murder on another, guy, and all that stuff got left out.
Right, the pirate scenes, yeah.
Oh, the pirates.
I also wish we saw more of Claire in her element in the 60s. Or as a surgeon. No, we didn't see her building her relationships and building her career and being her own person in the 60s. She was always Frank's wife, and it would have been interesting to explore that. They did film that. I know they did film a surgery scene that got cut. It would have been more impactful too for her decision to go back after you've seen this big life that she's created. I feel like we missed out on some of that.
We have something called Outlander Science Club that we do sometimes, where we take out parts of the medical things and share them, explore them in these short podcasts. And we just didn't get that as much as I thought we would. We didn't really have any material to work with, and we were both pretty sad about that. So those of you who came in, have you all read the books?
The first 3.5.
First 3, oh, because you're working, okay.
And you guys were just kind of yelling out our questions and stuff. Do you want to come closer? There's also a microphone right there if people want to come up and sound like we do. Yeah.
And I think part of that was because we didn't get to know Margaret properly. Like, we didn't really get to see, because that her brother's character was changed to where he wasn't pastor, and we didn't get to see this whole psychological thing develop, and we didn't get to see how she fit in, would fit into that. And so I think that was pretty challenging. We had to fill in those spaces. So I don't know, because there's so much detail in the books. My husband hasn't read the books. I know, it's like ridiculous that he hasn't read the books.
My husband hasn't read it.
I'm like,
Does anybody's husband know?
a lot of husbands read them, but, so I always have to go to him first and ask him, what did you think about that, without even giving any of my input. But he really comes up with the key pieces that should be, as somebody who's a non-reader of the material. So it's being effective for those people who aren't, actually familiar with the books before they get translated into TV. So that's good to know. But I'm always surprised sometimes that he could pick up on it. I'm like, what was it? What element told you that? Because I couldn't find it. But I think sometimes we read a lot into it when we've read the books.
Two medical people, what do you think of the water coming out of the bloody bath?
I know.
The technical of it all. And you know what they use for like the chicken and the.
I don't know what they used.
Corn syrup, something, what?
But I didn't know if there was a podcast from Ron for that episode. If there was, I missed that description of how they did that. It looks realistic. It looks like real blood, too. I think it
It was like real blood. It was like, oh, that's going to coagulate soon.
I've been impressed with their medical portrayals on the show, which is why I ended up blogging about it and spending time with it, because I feel like it's one of the few shows that actually does almost everything correctly.
What's your favorite so far?
This season in particular, the burr hole for the head injury, the trepanation, and it was realistic, it was done well, they showed a lot of cool close-ups, and I guess I like that they don't shy away from really being up close and showing the details. Is that what it would sound like? Good grinding bone.
I don't think you'd ever forget it once you
No,
got it.
I have done it once, but it was a electric drill, not a hand.
A little more efficient for you.
Along those lines, what did you think about in season one when she's repairing they're working on the femoral artery? Yeah.
Oh,
Was that realistic or was it? So a large laceration in femoral artery will cause a lot of bleeding very quickly, and it was unclear how long she'd been taking care of him, because it could be within minutes that he would lose a substantial amount of blood. But the way they portrayed the physics of it, the blood spurting, she's holding pressure, she's waiting for the surgeon, seemed realistic. I did more reading after writing about that episode, and they weren't fixing those arteries, at least for the first part of the war. It wasn't until the very end of the war in the European theater that they began to actually repair them. Instead, they would just ligate and then plan for amputation. So it wasn't quite clear, and what they did was accurate, because they didn't really explain what he was doing or go one way or the other. But I was impressed. It was episode 1, and I guess it got me hooked. So,
is there a favorite medical scene that you have in all the seasons?
I love watching Claire do her shoulder reduction. I feel like the first season really brought all of the medical out of the book, and that's so far it's been the one that's done it the best. So I just had a great time with that. But yeah, it was great. She's out there, she's doing what needs to get done, she's letting no one get in her way, and it's fun to dream a little bit about being in those circumstances.
And that's how it would be if your shoulder was dislocated.
Not exactly. There's other ways to do it now that you can do it without sedation, but you would use a different mechanism for doing it. But it was close enough that I wasn't bothered by it. I feel like they've done a great job. And they've done a great job of recalling the injuries and having the splinting and the scars and it's all, and the recall of all of that's been great.
And I had a question for our midwife. When Jenny gives birth to Kitty, is it Kitty?
And she's breech, right?
Yes, it's
Maggie.
I wrote about this pretty extensive blog on this. It was pretty funny. How they portray the labor and how it would look. Breech baby labors either are super fast and that baby flies out, or they're very unusual and really don't make sense. So they portrayed it really well. When it came to Claire would never, ever try to do an external version after waters were broken on a woman in labor. That is dangerous and it is reckless, and
Wait, what's an external version?
where she tries to turn the baby to be head down from butt down, and because it's really dangerous. Once the water breaks, there's not enough. I mean, you can compress the cord, you can make the placenta shear off the uterine wall. I mean, it's really scary. So I saw that, and the way she was doing it, I've been to external versions, I haven't done one myself. They are very serious procedures that require two providers, two OBs doing them. Women are often given medication or an epidural before because they're very hardcore. I mean, they have to dig in there and turn that baby. So that this force like this was not, I just kind of laughed about it. I was in Scotland at the time actually when that aired. Watching it on Scottish streaming is really tough, let me tell you.
She was sweating though, Claire.
She was sweating. They actually depicted the delivery. It was really well done. I mean, the actual delivery and how you're supposed to do it, they did well. It just cracked me up because I was like, yeah, they needed to really talk to an OB or a midwife about that whole external version aspect. Like, but the water's broken. Claire would not have done that. Even doing, a 3-month OB rotation as a nurse, she never would have done that because they would surely have seen breech babies in delivery at that point. They did a lot of breech babies in the 40s because they just didn't turn them all the time. They actually had much more skill at delivering them than we do now. So,
What about bringing the baby into the world as a true Scot?
I'm like, that's fine. I mean, well, I'm a home birth midwife, and so there have been times I've had women drink a half a glass of red wine and go to bed because they're not totally in active labor yet. They need to rest so their body can kick in. It's a lot safer than things like Ambien. And, so yes. So I've given women whiskey in labor. I have done that. So it's okay because sometimes you just need a little something. Or it's the idea of having it. Usually they don't even. It just sits in front of them until after the baby's born. And then they give it to me.
Not Jenny though.
There's a lot of hormones involved. Once a baby's ready to be born, there's a lot of things going on in the body that, an ounce of whiskey or a couple ounces of wine is not going to harm anyone. So,
I have questions that are not medical for you.
yeah.
I'm good, because I have no medical answers.
I don't know about your most challenging Outlander interview.
My most challenging, let's see, I have 2 answers for that. I would say doing Google Hangouts, which I usually do. When you make any noise on your side, the camera switches to you. And so when I was interviewing Stephen Cree, I was having to laugh silently through the whole thing. I mean, the guy is hilarious. And then my teenager came down the stairs behind me, and he was trying to figure out how to get, because he'd slept in, so he put a blanket over his head, and he creeps down the stairs, and Stephen's like, "Oh, is that a ghost?" And then my other challenging one was when I did season 3 premiere in New York City, red carpet. My first red carpet interview was Sam and Kat. And I hired my camera guy 2 hours before we were supposed to go because it was a holiday weekend and I don't live in New York City. And anyway, I didn't find out I was going until Thursday, and it was like 110 degrees on the red carpet. And we had been waiting there for 45 minutes. And when they showed up, like, I smelled like a goat. And luckily they're really tall, and I was like, they said they were gonna come together, and they came separately, and you have 4 questions, and you have 2 questions. You had like this much space before the next person, so that was really, I wasn't nervous by the time they got there. I was just like, let's just hurry up.
She's at the center blog, I want to check that out.
It is, yeah, it's on YouTube actually. Yeah.
So what's your favorite quip from an interview?
Probably the last person I interviewed was Sam Moore, who plays Hal. And if you guys come to the party, I'm going to screen that interview so you can watch it. It is not edited. I was going to show the Willoughby interview, which is edited, and my editor just got crashing. Sam Moore, the other Sam I call him, wanted to be seen tonight, not Willoughby, for whatever reason. So he's hilarious. He's a self-deprecating British guy, and he's like, you know, at the end, I think it was at the end, I was like, thank you so much, you know, and he was like, thank you so much. You did all this research, you made me feel like I have a career. Yeah. So, yes, that's probably the best quit. I love that.
Very sweet. Sounds like a nice guy.
Did you guys have any questions for the docs?
Well, midwife, dog, journalist. Yeah, I don't know if that was it.
I have no use for that at all.
Yeah, I'm like this, I'm like, yeah, I don't know about birth and no horses. So.
I ride horses, but I don't birth them. Or assist their birth.
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh, so we didn't get to the other characters that we would like to see in season 4. Besides Stephen Bonnet, because I think he's such a rich character. And there's so many layers to him. Yaya Winnie, who becomes close to Claire, and she becomes very significant. And Rollo, of course. I mean, that doll.
Wait, who was the last person you said?
Yaya Winnie.
She's
Yeah.
I was probably pronouncing that something different in my head.
Yeah.
Like all the Gaelic words. Yeah.
It messes with it. She's a healer, traditional healer, and she's a grandmother. And she and Claire have to communicate in a different way because they don't speak the same language.
But they do.
But they do. They speak this language the same, and they become friends, and they share different herbs and plants and all kinds of other information with each other.
And the pouch.
And a pouch. There's something special in a pouch that happens. And of course, I just can't wait to see more of Lord John because we need all the Lord John.
He's so good.
Otter tooth?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
that whole group.
yes.
Right.
Yeah. Or like, ooh, I know. It's going to be interesting to see how all the different cultures are integrated in this season.
And how much are they going to fit in? It's a big book.
Well, the next book is even bigger.
Yeah.
It's bigger, so.
And it's going to be 12 episodes, the next 2 books.
So we're like,
Yes.
yes, it is. Well, I think in Fiery Cross, the gathering isn't going to have to take like 300 pages. I don't remember that.
That's true.
Visually, you can shorten that into an episode because you can
10 minutes.
see all the things that are going on simultaneously when you're looking at it on film. Where in the book, you have to, that's the longest 24 hours of anyone's life.
Yeah.
I was like, how? Because I remember going back and going, oh no, they up at 3 a.m. and they don't go to bed till midnight, and then they just keep running out of sugar and eggs. That's all I know.
I hope they do more of the, I thought it was really effective at the Lord John Grey ball, where they just had Jamie and Claire share that look.
Oh yeah.
You know, it was like, that's all we need. Just don't have them run around all the time. You know?
But they run around all the time.
They
That's
do,
the-
but
that's the thing.
they need to at least share a look if they're not going to do other things. More connection. Right.
You had a question?
Is there any buzz about them doing like standalone episodes or something with like Lord John Grey? I love all those novellas.
I have read a couple of times that there have been hints that there might be a Lord John like miniseries. Like,
I cannot imagine that they would not do that because David Barry is
Come on.
beyond a hit. He's young. There's more and more Outlanders, so why wouldn't they? I mean,
I've heard hints here and there. That would be fantastic.
yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to seeing more of the Ian's show.
Oh, I know.
Young Ian.
Yes.
Yeah.
He grows up pretty fast, doesn't he? I'd say that's definitely the rules of the road teach him pretty quickly.
What characters seem like they just walked out of the books for you? For me, Roger is like Richard Rankin. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, it's Roger. Yeah. Do you have Jamie? Yes, yeah.
I think Jenny's really an accurate portrayal. And I think that Nell did an amazing job as Leary, because you don't want to be her friend. You really do.
Gayla's Duncan too.
Oh, Gayla's, well, it's because Lana, she's this little tiny person, but she inhabited that very big
It's a
character.
big character.
I mean, oh yeah.
She came across as crazy
Yeah.
and whimsy, and it's easily believable.
Somebody that, like, I'd want to be her friend, but I would never take food or drink from her ever. Never.
They were successful. Anybody else, you guys? Dougal.
Parsley? Yes.
I love how Lauren Lyle is playing her. The wedding scene in season 3. It's one of my favorite scenes from the book, and I thought Father Faulkner did a great job too.
We love him. He's just bonkers.
What do you guys think of the Coco edition? Yeah.
So I'd be interested in what people think about the adult Burgess.
I don't think we've really seen enough of him yet. I don't really have much of an opinion because he seems like he's been a little subdued, and I want to see Fergus in his fine French form.
I think adult Fergus, I think both Ferguses are really good, personally.
I just can't wait to see him in a totally different non-street element when they get to the ridge, because that's going to, I think we're going to start seeing more of him and what makes him tick and the challenges of being one-handed, farming and ranching and building, which he can't really do any of that really well. And there's a lot of pickpocketing and street hustle to do on the ridge.
Is it just me, or do people also like Rollo and Clarence and the White Sow and all these?
Yes, I want to see Adso.
All of them. Yes.
Like, I'm dying for Adso. Clarence is my favorite. I know. But I saw pictures of the White Sow, I actually squealed because it was so cute.
She has babies all the time.
I know, but
she's mean.
She's just crabby. She's
Always
always under
that
the
house. Yeah.
Like, they can't get to their
Interesting
spices.
how that they film that, Because I remember reading that, I couldn't quite understand what was going on. Just knew she lived somewhere and you wanted to hurry. Yeah.
She lived in the pantry until she got big enough. They had a pen. She always broke out of the pen, and then she lived under the house and kept having her litters under the house. So she's a character. I like how they bring the animals to life in the show, because some of us really like animals a lot. And they have, like with Rollo, if any of you have read to the last book, I know, but it's incredible how a dog in a book series can make you so attached who's not a main character. It's not like Lassie or something, right? And so I love that they really give the, kind of the personality and what animals mean to us through these books as well.
Well, Diana's a big dog person.
She is.
No,
That's my person.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any favorite costumes that you just loved or coveted or wanted? I want Master Raymond's vest, his apothecary coat. I would tackle him for that.
You can have that. I hit Claire's crossbody leather medicine vest
Yes.
from the end of season 2.
It was when she's in the 18th century and she's carrying this crossbody leather bag.
I can see her watch it. It's when she left Alex.
Yes.
It's when she was in that time
Walking
period
in
and
the
Alex was
closet.
about to die.
I don't think this is original, but I like her coat with the fuzzy hood. Did you get one? The coat? And how they do? Is it like a? Oh.
I love that one they had, that I think it was actually based on a Chanel design, that it was the white coat.
Oh, yes, the white navy.
Yeah, Dior, Christian Dior, right?
Yeah.
It was magnificent.
Yeah, they were all beautiful, but.
Yeah, that one was really.
It's white. The white.
Yeah.
I just saw somebody did a cosplay of that, like a really beautiful, on Twitter.
So like a steampunk-ish.
And I don't really care if the costumes are accurate. They're beautiful, and they come up, they jump out of the screen and they're their own characters, just like the sets are. So I'm like, it's okay if they're, to me, if they're not totally accurate, I don't care. So Brandy, would you like to show people your cosplay outfit, please?
Did anyone else dress Outlander?
She made that all
Brandy,
herself.
Brandy, will you spend just a couple minutes and tell us about it on that mic right there?
Gosh, okay.
The
Well,
tears that went into it,
oh, Lord.
the bad words,
did.
Profanity. No, this took me about 6 weeks to make.
yeah.
I think. I used the pattern from the American Duchess. If you haven't followed her anywhere, she's absolutely amazing. The things that she comes up with. And I use that pattern, and this is 7 layers. It's it's a 7-layer dress. The shift and the corset that I refuse to wear. They really are a pain in the butt. But it's a corset, I made that, I have all the boning. And then there are 3 petticoats, the 2 petticoats under this, and it's just cotton. The outer skirt here is linen. It's really, really cool. And then this is the gown part, and this is just flannel. It's just a really light flannel. It was really, really fun to make. Ray was like, hey, you want to make me one? And
We're still working on it.
we're still working on it. You will have it at some point.
She'll wear it at next year's panel.
Yes. We wanted her to this year, but it was a little complicated. So, no, I really enjoyed making it. It was really fun.
And if you do go to the American Duchess website, all the hacks are in there to make it much more realistic. So if you want something beyond the costume and you want it to be an outfit that would be more of a correct portrayal, all of it's on there. It just makes it a lot more complicated. And
Yeah, the simplicity patterns are specifically just for a costume. They're not going to be for any kind of period dress.
And one of the things about costuming that I think is interesting, because we buy clothes, we buy $5 t-shirts, right? I mean, our clothes are really disposable, and the clothes they had, where she would probably have 4 shifts, and then she would have a couple of the extra top parts, and then just, a handful of underskirts that she would wear, and that's all you had, because you had to make it. And the shifts only got washed, right? Routinely. The outer part of the clothing only got washed if you were in the mud, or maybe a couple times a year, because it was really intensive to do it. So the clothes lasted a lot longer, but you didn't have nearly the variety that we have now. Could you imagine if you had to make the wool, like shear the sheep, make the wool, and do all of it from scratch? I'd be naked, that's all. I just don't have any clothes. Is the bum roll uncomfortable? Because Katrina Bell hates the bum rolls.
It's right now, it's sagging, so if you see me walking around,
You just said
constantly holding up like.
Hiking up your bum roll?
Yes.
Because we dressed up, we made I had some bags made that use a quote from Diana Gabaldon explaining what the show, or what Outlander is. Any other questions before we close, or thoughts? So we are having a little after party over at the Hyatt across the street. And if anybody wants to come, we're going to be previewing her interview, and we have some drinks and food, and we're just going to hang out and continue the conversation. And so if you at about 7:15 are in the lobby by the coffee shop, one of us will come down and get you up the elevator because we have a key card. So thank you all so much. This was fun.
Thanks for coming, you guys.